The introduction of adolescence, you must be remembering the period of your life when you grew up and noticed the changes in your body and mind. You became so much concerned about yourself, and opposite gender started attracting you. Adults considered you children, and children considered you adults. The world appeared full of evils, and you wanted to make it heaven. The experiments were so elating, but sometimes nothing seemed to work. Nobody would agree to your ideas except your friends. You desired independence, but some guidance from parents and elders too. Surprisingly, the situation has not changed much. Rather, it has become more complex due to inflow of information in the era of information technology. The globalization and free accessibility to information while offers new challenges and remarkable opportunities for their well-being, but at the same time, if not channelized properly, it may become detrimental. You will come to know about its positive and negative effects as you go through this this unit. To begin with, you will learn about adolescence, its definition, and the various changes during this period. The importance of adolescence has been dealt in describing adolescents as a special group and need to invest in them to promote healthy and productive individuals for the development of the nation. The unit progresses with a description of adolescence profile at global and national level. Throughout the unit, you will undertake various learning activities and case studies to grasp the concept, learn the process, and complete your uh, sessional work. So, adolescence and its importance. So, I will discuss here adolescence and its importance. Adolescence is a phase of life of a person when he is no more a child and not yet adult. The life is full of tremendous energy, the curiosity and experimentation at one time paves the path to success, and at other may cause uncertainty. This is a critical time in life because the experiences, knowledge, and skills acquired in adolescence have important implication in adulthood. The period of adolescence has attracted philosophers, thinkers, and sociologists since the early history of mankind. Aristotle in 4th century BC commented that adolescents think that they know everything and are quite sure of it. The French philosophers Rousseau in 16th century through the reasoning develops in adolescence. Stanley Hall, the father of scientific research in adolescence, devised the concept that adolescence is a turbulent time charged with conflict and mood swings. Let us understand what we mean by adolescence. So, now I will discuss definition and meaning of adolescence. The word adolescence is derived from Latin word adolescere, meaning to grow up or to mature. It is a period of transition between childhood and adulthood that involves a number of changes in body and mind. World Health Organization defines adolescence as a phase of life between 10 to 19 years of age characterized by physical growth, emotional, psychosocial, and behavioral changes, thus bringing about transformation from childhood and adulthood. These changes usually occur a year or two earlier in girls than boys. Some of the changes are externally visible and some are internal. These changes are normal and natural and are due to release of various hormones in both boys and girls. The term puberty is sometimes equated with adolescence. However, both the terms are not the same. Puberty is only a small part of the larger process of adolescence. It is the time when a boy and a girl become physically capable of having children. In girls, it starts with onset of menstruation, and in boys with enlargement of testes followed by appearance of secondary sexual characters. While puberty refers to physical and sexual maturation of both boys and girls, the term adolescence also includes cognitive, social, and behavioral characteristics of this period. You must have come across various words related to different phases of life like childhood, youth, young people, and teenage. You must have wondered what these words mean. Let us learn about the difference amongst them. Child, child is term usually applied for the age group below 14 years. Youth, the United Nations definition of youth is those between the age of 15 to 24 years. The National Youth Policy of India defines youth as the 13 to 35 years age group. Young people are those who belong to the age group between 10 to 24 years. The word teenage is synonyms with adolescence. Adolescence has recently gained recognition as a distinct phase of life with its own specialized needs. It is recognized as a phase rather than a fixed time period in the life of an individual. Apart from changes in the body and mind, this period also involves changes in social perception and expectations. You will subsequently learn more about them as you read, as you learn with this unit. Adolescence, period of change. You must have noticed some differences among adolescents who are the same age. Do some adolescents look different from their friends? Have some boys grown mustaches, or do some girls have breasts? As you know, all these are pubertal changes. These changes are accompanied by those in behavior and social relations also. Let us learn more about these changes. First is physical changes in adolescent boys. Physical changes in adolescent boys include the following: growth, spurts occurs, shoulders broaden, muscles develop, skin become oily, voice deepens, growth, muscles and beard, growth of underarm, chest, genital hair, and so on. Physical changes in adolescents girl. These are different changes in girls which are as here: growth, spurt occur, breast develop, skin become oily, hips widen, waistline narrows, growth of underarm and genital hair, external genitals enlarge, uterus and ovaries enlarge, ovulation occurs, and menstruation begins. The adolescent growth spurt normally begin about the age of 10 in girls and about 13 years in boys. In both sexes, it lasts for 2.5 years. In this period, our teenagers weight down and height increases by 15 20 to 20% during the spurt in the boys and nearly 20 centimeter to their height, and girls then about 16 centimeter. In girls, most of the height increases by the onset of menstruation. Later, the growth continue but slowly, and the girls reach 98% of their final height by the average age of 15 years, whereas boys reach it by 18. Genetic factors are most important in the growth. Tall parents tend to have tall children, and short ones tend to have short children. Nutrition and enabling environment are also important contributors. Adolescents, girls and boys who are better nourished and have adequate amount of calories and protein show a better overall growth, weight and height. Poverty, poorly balanced diet and starvation lead to poor growth. Chronic disease like tuberculosis, if not properly treated, can adversely affect the growth. Vigorous exercise does not result in height gain, but moderate exercise is helpful in muscular development and physical fitness. Adequate protein intake, 1 to 1.5 gram protein per kg body weight, can make a significant increment in height. About in boys and girls, medicines or indigenous drugs do not help in achieving faster or higher growth in height, and consumption of some drugs can be harmful. Sexual changes in the boys. During adolescence, the adolescents become sexually active, so it is very important to know the sexual changes. The sexual changes in boys are as here, genital organs enlarge, pubic, axillary, and bodily hair appears. The voice of the young boys breaks and attain a deeper tone. The body itself become more distinctly muscular. Sperm production begin in the uh, reproductive organs. At about this time, the young man begins to experience a distinct sexual urge or drive. The sexual forces awakened in him make him suddenly conscious of this strong sensual pleasure that can be associated with his genital. This may give rise to pleasure, confusion, that and guilt feelings. There is an increased true of the male because his sexual urge and drives are more distinctly genital. He also become more conscious of and attracted to the other gender and may fantasies about them or imagine being in love with one of them. Nocturnal emissions or wet dreams may begin and become a source of anxiety. And the sexual changes in the girls are as follows. Budding of the breast takes place, which becomes progressively bigger and fuller. Axillary and pubic hairs and start appearing. The hip become wider and the body shape changes, and so on. In the adolescent female, the sexual urges are more diffused and more associated with emotion and daydreams of romantic situation. They initially may be shy in seeking friendship with the other gender, but may soon look forward and want to be friends with boys rather than girls. Many young women also may have erotic dreams and may find pleasure in stimulating their own genitals. Environmental and social changes during adolescence. These are the changes which are not observable as physical, but definitely the behavioral of adolescents changes due to emotional and social changes happening in their body and mind. These changes are as follows: environmental changes. emotional instability, preoccupied with the body image, frequent mood changes, curiosity and experimentation, self exploration and evaluation, concern and worries about the body changes, conflicts with family, elders over control, development of abstract thinking but confusion at times, attraction towards opposite sex, daydreaming and fantasizing, or relationships tend to orient it from parents to peers. The changes in body, mind, and relationships transform an adolescent mentally and emotionally. The shape of body, especially that of the girls, changes. These never events leave adolescents bewildered, confused, scared, and sometimes guilty. They start experiencing romantic feelings, sexual arousal, anger, or mood swings. They may feel attracted to the opposite sex, fall in love, hate someone instantly, and want to talk to person of the other gender. Sometimes intense curiosity gives rise to the desire to explore their own bodies and experiment with others. These changes occur at different times and uneven pace among adolescents. They do not proceed at an even pace but moves with fits and starts. Its example, rapid spurts followed by relatively quiet times. There is also difference between growths in a pair of organs like breath. It is almost a rule that one does grow the other. A serious anxiety arises among the adolescents concerning marked differences in height, weight, and other changes. In fact, many teenagers have a feeling that they are no longer in control of their body or mind. They fear that they are abnormal since they may look different in comparison to their friends who may be growing at a different pace. Adolescents have difficult times coping with these changes, lack of knowledge about the normal body changes, and expecting the changes to happen in a rigid fixed time schedule gives rise to anxiety and fears. They not only hesitate to ask questions about these changes but also do not know as whom to approach. The parents and family respond according to their own values and tradition to the change in adolescence. Restriction in mobility, like going out alone or staying out till late night, is common, especially for girls. They are expected to share responsibility. They are imposed rules or on dress, and interactions with the opposite gender are restricted. This gives rise to communication gaps, aggression in behavior, and conflicts with the parents. An empathetic attitude to adolescents can avoid this and create an understanding and harmonious atmosphere. Developmental stages in adolescence. Adolescence may be divided into early, middle, and late period, which are respectively the 10 to 14, 15 to 17, and 18 to 19 years age groups. These periods roughly correspond with the phase in physical, social, and psychological development in the transition from childhood to adulthood. In this table are development stages in adolescence, showing this table category of change, early adolescence, middle adolescence 15 to 17 years, and late adolescence 18 to 19 years. So differences are here: growth, category of change, growth, Early adolescence, 10 to 14 years, secondary sexual character appears. Growth accelerate and reaches peak. Middle adolescence, 15 to 17 years, secondary sexual characters advance. Growth slows down. Approximately 95% of adult stature gained. Late adolescence means 18 to 19 years, physically matures. Category of change, cognition. So early adolescent, 10 to 14 years, concrete thinking, long-term implication of action, not perceived. Middle adolescence, 15 to 17 years, thinking is more abstract, capable of long-range thinking, reverts to concrete thinking when under stress, interest in moral reasoning, establishing late adolescence, 18 to 19 years, established abstract thinking, future oriented, perceives long range operation options, acceptance of social institution and cultural tradition. So category of change next is psychosocial, then development in early adolescence, 10 to 14 years, preoccupied with rapid physical growth, body change, defining boundaries of dependence, independence, and occasional experimentation with cigarettes and so on. It seeks affiliation to counter instability. Then 15 to 17 years, uh, re-establishes body image, preoccupied with fantasy and idealism, conflicts over control, peer group defines behavior, code, clothing, personal interest, and so on, examines inner experiences, for example, diary writing and so on. Late adolescence, 18 to 19 years, intellectual and functional identity established, moves from child to parents relationship. So I'm not okay, you are okay, to adult relationship, you are okay, I am okay, individual friendship becomes more important, self-reliant, greater concern for others, and all these types of characteristics of late adolescent, 18 to 19 years. Then next category is sexuality. So 14 to 15 years, self-exploration and evaluation, masturbation, worrying about being normal. Next is next stage of adolescence, 15 to 17 years, clearly defined sexual orientation, preoccupied with romantic fantasy, feelings of love and passion, testing ability to attract opposite gender. Next is the next characteristics appear in late adolescence, 18 to 19 years, clear sexual identity from stable relationship, mutuality and reciprocity, plans for future. So while the classification of above stages is not universally accepted and varies as above, it provides a basic framework to understand the development stages of adolescence. So now discuss here characteristics of adolescence. So adolescence is a difficult journey of self-exploration and interaction with the world. It is characterized by contradiction, fantasies, surprises, and uncertainties, while posing immense possibilities and threats. The self-description given here by one of the adolescents will help us understand various characteristics of this beautiful period. What am I like person? I am a sensitive, friendly, outgoing, popular, and tolerant. I can be shy, self-conscious. I would like to be friendly, and tolerant all the time. And I am disappointed when I am not. I am responsible, even studious now, and then I don't usually do shell what at the school. I am pretty and cheerful person, especially with my friends and home, and I am more likely to be just so around my parents. They expect me to get all this is not fair. So I am usually pretty stressed out at home or sarcastic since my parents are always on my case. But I really don't understand how I can switch so fast. I mean, how I can be cheerful 1 minute and exist the next and then be sarcastic. Which one is the real me? Sometimes I feel that some guy will be interested in asking me out. I try to act different like Madonna. I will be flirtatious and fun loving, and then everybody else is looking at me like they think I am totally weird. Then I get self conscious and impressed and become radically introverted. And I don't know who really I am, but I don't really care what they think. I close friend. I can't be real self with my parents. They don't understand me. They still treat me like I'm still a kid. At least at school, people treat you more like you are an adult. That gets confusing though. I mean, which am I? A kid or an adult? It is scary too because I don't have an idea what I want to be when I grow up. I know don't want to be a waitress or a secretary, but how do you decide all of this? I think about it a lot, but I can't resolve it. There are days when I wish could just become immune to myself. As you see, this is an honest description depicting how an adolescent feels. From this description, you can learn about the various characteristics which generalize adolescence. Let us talk about them. Growth is spurt. Adolescents mature at varying rates of speed and are highly disturbed by body changes. They are physically vulnerable because of poor health habits or risky experimentation with drugs and other things. Physical appearance decides self-image. I doesn't like my other body parts. They are too small and look funny. I am afraid guys won't like me if they don't make get or my nose is too big and my lips are too small. My body is a disaster and are the usual comments we hear from the adolescence. The rapid physical growth leaves teenagers often feel awkward, self-conscious, uncoordinated, embarrassed, and even confused. They frequently attempt to hide or constantly complain about whatever part of their body makes them most uncomfortable. Teasing and bullying further makes their life miserable. Self discovery. The adolescence it is in is the process of discovering self, and it fluctuates across situation and times. In the quoted described by the girl above, she remarked she could not understand how she can switch so fast. I mean, how I can be cheerful 1 minute and energized the next, and then be sarcastic. The multiple roles played by adolescents in different relationships contexts are contradictory. The adolescent finds herself moody and understanding, ugly and attractive, introverted and fun-loving. Next is desire for independence and prove their identity. Adolescents have a great desire for independence and want to be treated like adults, and anxiously searching for identity. Adolescents attach great importance to a status symbol as reflected by their possessions and clothing. Rebellion seems to be invisible, so they can be different from their parents and defy them. Egocentrism. This is the heightened self-consciousness of adolescents, which is reflected in their belief that others are as interested in them as they are themselves. They have attention-seeking behavior, the attempt to be noticed, visible, and or stay on stage and consider them unique. This, according to some writers, is responsible for drugs using, suicide, and failure to use contraceptives during other things. Next one is emotionally unstable. Their emotion outpace their rational thinking. They are so intertwined that adolescents have difficulty distinguish between feeling and thinking. They experience mood swings, often with peaks of intensity and unpredictability, and are self-conscious. Hormones put them on a vulnerable emotional roller coaster ride, overflowing with generated and uncontrollable feelings. This cause conflicts and stress, curiosity and experimentation. Adolescents are curious, innovative, exploring and experimenting. Fascinated by adults' behavior, they are motivated or to try out forbidden activities like rash driving, uh, and experiments with drugs and so on. Peer influence outweighs parental affection. Adolescents need frequent validation by others and they desperately seek peer appreciation and acceptance. They are fiercely loyal to peer group values and peers' opinion become most influential and guide the flow of their life. Changing focus of relationships. Parents no longer are the major focus of the teenagers, but adolescents shift from same gender best friend relationship to having close interactions and increasing interest in both genders. They are often aggressive and argumentative. Idealism and confrontation with religion, tradition, and moral values. Adolescents are idealistic and have a strong sense of fairness. They criticize challenges and comfort moral values and ask frequent ambiguous questions about the meaning of life. Absence of long-term thinking about life and the world. The absence of abstract thinking makes the present most precious and self the most important. The future seems far away and immediate gratification becomes more important. Desire to be considered as an asset rather than a problem. The moral and spiritual development leads the adolescents to find a bigger role for himself while questioning the behavior of elders. It is beautifully described by an adolescent. Many times teenagers are thought of as a problem that no one really wants to deal with. People are sometimes intimidated and become hostile when teenagers are willing to change their authority. It is looked at as being disrespectful. Teenagers are many a time not treated like an assets and an innovative thinkers. So, thus adolescence is characterized by turbulent changes in self and complex interaction with the environment. This shapes their personality and enables them to form relationships. On the other hand, it makes them vulnerable and often leads to the conflicts and undesirable and socially unacceptable behavior. The society needs to be empathetic and understand adolescents to harness their potential and energy. Challenges of adolescence. The period of adolescence usually is an eventful one. However, it poses various challenges for the adolescents and society. Let us understand these challenges. So, challenges related to physical development. Physical challenges are an essential part of adolescence. While these changes are part of a normal process of maturation, it is a challenging process for the individual, especially when these changes are early or late compared to their peers. The process of physical maturation often creates problems for adolescents. The changes in height, the changes in weight, and development of secondary sexual characteristics happen at different ages and variable rates. These pose a dilemma of normality. Bullying by peers and comparison with the peers who are developing at a different rate makes them anxious, but their appearance, the adolescents may be stressed and there may be lowering of self-esteem. Taking poor nutrition may cause poor growth in height, and anemia is a common problem in adolescents. This may have had effects on health and even in future generation in the form of low birth weight babies. The adolescents and their parents may not be aware of the variability in the developmental changes. The adolescents may take harmful drugs like steroids for increasing their height and muscles and suffer from their bad effects. Challenges related to cognitive development. The adolescents develop a capacity for abstract thinking, discover how to think about relationship issues, discerns new ways of processing information, and learn think creatively and critically. The adolescents move from concrete thinking to dealing with ideas, concepts, and abstract theories. They become passionately interested in abstract concepts and notions and are able to discern what is real from what is ideal. They understand the information and act on that understanding to solve problems, passing through phases of success and failure. Egocentricity or self interest is the hallmark of adolescence. They may have the idea that everyone is watching them as though they were on stage and tend to draw others' attention by their particular behavior. They feel unique and think that one that no one is capable of understanding them and their feelings. This has important implication for counselors. The ability to think creativity on one hand helps adolescents to make innovations, getting away from difficult situations, and on the other hand invites troubles due to innovative and potentially risk experiments like rash driving, unsafe sexual activities, taking alcohol and drugs, challenges related to psychosexual development. So the development is no longer child, he is new person emerging into an adult. This process of understanding self and seeking meaning and direction leads to identity formation. The adolescents construct concepts of self within the context of relation with others. Yet he is also seeking to establish an independent entity. This journey of self discovery is both stressful and anxiety provoking for them. The formation of personal identity and integration with the society gives rise to conflicts. Emotional reactivity and instability makes it difficult for adolescents to control their behavioral responses, which at times may be inappropriately extreme. Excitement, anger, sadness, depression, and embarrassment. This often gives rise to feeling of ridicule, humiliation, and embarrassment, and adolescents feel disgusted and ashamed of themselves. The adolescents who belong to under-deprived and minority groups have difficulty in establishing personal identity. The prejudice leads to emotion such as anger and outrage may be directed towards the majority society. Exploration of personal sexuality and sexual identity lead them into serious relationship heartbreaks and resulting stress. Sexual hormones during puberty trigger an increase in sexual arousal, desires, and argue in both males and females. These are managed through fantasy and masturbation, but often lead to sexual experimentation with their friends. Unsafe that may lead to unwanted pregnancies, sexually transmitted diseases, and HIV/AIDS. Challenges related to social development. Adolescents need to find their place in society and gain a sense of fitting in it. This is a process of socialization involving an adolescent's integration with society. This process, socialization, enhances the sense of personal identity and the development of personal identity, helps the adolescents to deal with society's expectation and standards and norms. This challenges the adolescent to make changes in social behavior. So some points are here. Society's expectations pose a challenge for adolescents and are valuable in helping them to progress along the path of to adulthood. The fulfillment of these expectations helps to develop a positive sense of self. Adolescents who are overwhelmed by society expectation may revert to antisocial behavior ranging from low-level delinquency to serious crimes. Parental expectation to perform and conform to their standards are abnormally high to unrealistic. They may generate negative feelings, communication gap, and antisocial behavior. Adolescents' expectations in relationship with peers, parents, and society are often not fulfilled and cause conflicts. Moving away from dependence on parents and family and having close relationship with friends is a major social change. Parental control leads to conflicts and communication gap. Peers determine the flow of an adolescent's life and they develop their personality too. However, negative peer pressure leads to high risk behavior. Next one is the moral and spiritual challenges. The process of social development and the formation of a personal identity go in hand with moral and spiritual development. The adolescents find it difficult to choose between self sacrifice and social conformity. The process of identity formation, peer pressure, desire to form relationship and exploration of their sexuality pose difficult challenges. The motives for doing well or avoiding wrong depend on the approval of elders and society in general. Lack of clear direction confuse adolescents. Decision making is difficult based upon the moral teaching and therefore adolescents often come in confrontation with law and order. Formation of personal identity goes hand in hand in adolescents with findings meaning in their lives. They look within themselves to examine thoughts and feelings and to reason about them. This leads them to seek answer to questions of a spiritual nature. Those adolescents who are struggling with identity formation and are striving to find their place in society may come into conflicts with the social norms and need direction, understanding, and empathy. Thus, adolescence, by virtue of its nature of change, pose innumerable challenges both of adolescence as well as society. Awareness generation providing correct and scientific information may help to face these challenges up to a great extent. And understanding of the world of adolescence will help the adolescents to pass through this turbulent phase of life and will also help them to make a positive and constructive contribution to make a healthy and harmonious social environment. So you can check your progress with the help of these types of questions. Next one is adolescents are a special group. The transitional nature of adolescence not only makes them vulnerable but also prompts them for various high risk behaviors. It poses a threat not only to the health and well being of the society but also may have intergenerational effects. They face a number of challenges, and so does the society. Have a lack of understanding of adolescent issue, enabling environment and the definitive framework prevents the harnessing of full potential and energy in adolescence. In the present section, you will be learning about the characteristics of adolescents as a special group and need for investing in them. Let us understand why the adolescents have to be seen as a special group. So, adolescents constitute a sizable population. Adolescents comprises about 1.2 billions of the total population in the world. This is going to grow steadily and expected to reach to 1.23 billions by 2040. As you can see in this table given below, Asia 90.1% population is of adolescents. while in India they constitute about 21% of the total population. This large population cannot be ignored and the need and concern have to be addressed. So this table showing the distribution of global population of 2005. Region, total population here, adolescents population percentage. With this table, in India, adolescents do not appear as a distinct and well-defined group in policies and programs. They are categorized with youth. The National Youth Policy includes the age group of 13 to 15 years. National AIDS policy refers to youth between age 15 to 25 years. Similarly, National Health Policy 2002 talks about only of children. The world of adolescents is different than that of adults. The world of adolescents is entirely different from us. Hormonal influence causing emotional instability, curiosity, experimentation, like unsafe, that's slowly developing emotional instability and abstract thinking and fear-led behavior are some of the factors which determine the flow of adolescent life. Society needs to understand the world of adolescents to avoid conflicts with them, nurture them and harness their energy and potential. Adolescents are vulnerable. Adolescents are vulnerable to nutritional disorder and anemia, sexual transmitted infection, HIV, AIDS, unwanted pregnancy, and unsafe abortion, trafficking, sexual abuse, stress, and related consequences. The vulnerability of adolescents is affected by a number of factors like physical, psychosocial, and sexual changes, absence of abstract thinking, lack of knowledge and skills, media influence, adolescents with special needs, physical and mental challenges, adolescents, orphans, street children, environmental factors and circumstances, working adolescents, adolescents, victims of natural disaster, terrorism and wars, accessibility and availability of health services. Society has to address these factors and provide a safe, a supportive environment for adolescents to ensure respect, health, protection, and enable them realize their full potential. Adolescence is a time of opportunity. The journey of adult life depends largely on healthy adolescence period. WHO estimates that 70% premature deaths among adults are largely due to behavior initiated during adolescence. Then policymakers have lead to deal with adolescent issues and problems holistically. Adolescents issues and problems are interrelated and require a holistic view and integrated approach to deal with them. For example, addressing health problems and problems behaviors requires not only specific treatment but also enhancing protective factors such as positive relationship with parents and teachers and a positive school environment, and reducing the risk factors such as early initiations of unprotected sex activities and the use of tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs. Adolescents need a safe and supportive environment, a safe, free from danger of disease, injury, and supportive, nurturing environment is critical for an individual to develop to his her full potential and for him her to be healthy. Adolescents who have positive relationship with parents and with other adults in the community are less likely to experience depression. Next is profile global and Indian perspective. Let us now understand about the global and Indian perspective as description is here. The global perspective, the rapid global changes causes new opportunities and challenges to the health and well-being of a population of around 1.2 billion adolescents, while advances in transportation and telecommunication like clothing, music, hairstyles, and slang. Cultural difference play an important role. Let us consider some of the variation around the world. Two-thirds of Asian adolescents accept their parents' choice of a marital partner or for them. In Middle East, male adolescents are not allowed to interact with opposite gender. In Philippines, many female adolescents sacrifice their own future by migrating to city to earn money to their families. All these differences and experiences in adolescent depend upon their gender, families, schools, and peers. However, some adolescents' tradition remain the same in various culture, health and well-being. I have summarized some of these changes and tradition is here. Health and well-being, there is a wide variation in the health status and well-being of adolescents. Overall, fewer adolescents around the world die from infections, diseases, and malnutrition. However, number of risk taking the behaviors like illicit drugs, use of and unsafe sexual activities increasingly in frequency. There is extensive increases in prevalence of HIV in adolescents in sub-Saharan countries. Gender, except in few areas like Japan, Philippines, and Western countries, male have greater access to educational opportunities than female. In most of the countries, adolescents female have less freedom to pursue the career of their choice and engage in leisure acts. Gender differences in sexual expression are widespread in India. Southeast India, Latin America, and Arabian countries. In some countries, due to expanding educational opportunity and career choice, the control over adolescents, girls' romantic and sexual relationship is weakening. Next is family. The parenting in West is less authoritarian than Asian and Arabian countries, where close knit families impose strict codes of conduct and tradition. Single parent families, especially divorced and step families, on one hand give more liberty to adolescents and on the other creates a stressful situation too. Factors like migration to urban areas, both parents working and smaller families provide less time and resources for adolescents. School, while education for all adolescents is a dream in many countries, the number of school going adolescents is increasing. Peers, the role of peers varies from culture to culture. In Arabian countries, peers have a very restrictive role, especially for girls. In most Western countries, peer influence is far more and sometimes assume the role of parents. The adolescents' lives are characterized by a combination of socio-cultural changes and tradition across the globe. The Indian perspective, adolescents comprise a sizable population in India. There are 2 to 5 million adolescents comprising approximately one-fifth, 22% of the total population census, according to census 2001. There is a wide variation in rural versus urban adolescents. Let us understand about the profile of adolescents in the country and various development initiative for them. There is a wide variation in age and sex parameters of the total adolescent population. Female adolescents comprises 47% and male adolescent 53% of the total population. 12% belongs to 10 to 14 years age group and nearly 10% are in the 15 to 19 years age group. The sex ratio is 880 females or for 1000 males, lower than the overall sex ratio of 933, which is 902 for younger adolescents aged 18 to 14 years and 858 for older adolescents aged 15 to 19 years census, according to Census 2001. There is wide variation in educational status. 25% of adolescents in the 15 to 19 years age group or in rural areas and 10% in urban areas are illiterate. The male-female differences grow with each level of education. Enrollment figures in schools have improved, but gender disparities persist. Girls account for less than 50% enrollment at all stages of schooling. The condition is still worse in rural areas. The challenge is to keep students in school. The dropout rate from school first to 10th is around 68%. Adolescents contribute significantly to workforce. Nearly 1 out of 3 adolescents in the 15 to 19 years age group is working. 21% as main workers and 12% as marginal workers. According to Census 2001, economic condition of family force adolescents to work, resulting in high dropout rate for education. Despite adults' unemployment, employers like to engage children and adolescents because of cheap labor. Next is early marriage is common. Mean age at marriage for females is 18 years and males 22.6 years. However, 47.4% of currently married female of age group 20 to 24 years were married below the legal age of marriage. 12% of women aged 15 to 19 years have become mothers, then 4% are currently pregnant with their first child. Early pregnancy causes high death of mothers, newborn, and children. Female mortality in adolescence is high. Gender greatly affects mortality rate during adolescence. Female mortality rates are higher as compared to males in the 15 to 24 years age group. Mortality in female and adolescents between 15 to 19 years is higher than in adolescents between 10 to 15 years. The pervasiveness of discrimination, lower nutritional status, early marriage, and complications during pregnancy and childbirth among adolescents contribute to female mortality. Sex before marriage is common. 43% women and 11.2% men aged 20 to 24 years have their sexual experience by 18 years of age. Most sexuality active adolescents are in their late adolescence. Increase in age at marriage, increased mobility, and peer pressure makes the young people vulnerable to indulging in unsafe sexual behavior. This leads to unwanted pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, HIV and AIDS. Use of contraceptives is low. Amongst currently married women, the unmet need of contraception is in the highest in the group 15 to 19 years. nearly 27.1% of married females adolescents have reported unmet need for contraception. This is due to non-availability and access to contraceptive services. Malnutrition is a serious problem. Intake of nutrients is less than the recommended daily allowances for adolescents below the age of 18 years, both for boys and girls in rural India. Over 55.8% women and 30.2% men in the age group of 18 to 19 years are suffering from anemia. Adolescents mothers are at a higher risk of miscarriages, maternal mortality, and they are more prone to giving birth to stillborn and underweight babies. Iodine deficiency disorder can lead to growth retardation and retard mental development. Only half of the household are using iodized salt for cooking in India. During abuse is emerging as a major health problem. 24% the drug users were in the age group of 12 to 18 years. The subjects in the treatment centers reported that about 11% were introduced to cannabis before the age of 15 years and about 26% between the age of 16 to and 20 years. So social factors such as illiteracy, economic background, unemployment, and family increases vulnerability to drug abuse. Among 13 to 15 years old school going children, current use of any tobacco product varies from 33.3% to 62.8%. Nagaland, the Global Youth Tobacco Surveys Collaboration Group Tobacco use amongst youth across country competition tobacco control um, these references. Sexuality, sexually transmitted infection and HIV and AIDS on the rise. Sexually transmitted infection and HIV/AIDS are increasing in the age group 15 to 19 years. About 10.5% women and 10.8% men aged 15 to 19 years had self-reported symptoms of sexually transmitted infections. The prevalence of HIV and AIDS are found to be 0.04% in the age group of 15 to 19 years and 0.18% in 20 to 25 years. These health risks are related to factors like early marriage, gender disparities, unsafe sexual activities, access to education, and socio-economic environment. Crimes against adolescents are prevalent. Crimes against adolescents are increasing in girls. They range teasing to abduction, rape, prostitution, and violence to sexual harassment. Most rape victims are in the age group of 14 to 18 years, and a significant number of are under 14 years. In 84% of rape cases, the victim knew the offenders, and 32% of rapists were neighbors. Unfortunately, social taboos prevent these crimes from being registered. Even when registered, prosecution rarely takes place. The boys between 12 to 17 years, they are mainly victims of homosexual abuse. This delinquent behavior is alarmingly increasing. There has been a sharp increase in the last few years in incidences of delinquency. Alcoholism, drug addiction, truancy, and crime amongst adolescents. These are more in boys, and most of them, 29%, are illiterate or have studied up to the primary stage. A large number of them are school dropouts. Trafficking and sex work has increased extremely. Poverty, low status of women, and competencies of law enforcing agencies has led to increase in sex work, expansion of trafficking, and and this movement of young girls has also increased across national and international borders. Disability in adolescents is being recognized. In the 10 to 19 years age group, disability was reported among 1.99% of the adolescents. Among the disabled adolescents, 40% reported visual disability and nearly one third, 33% reported movement disability. Males generally reported a higher percentage of disability in females. According to this data, Census 2001 made so discuss a need to invest in adolescents. The behaviors and lifestyles learned or adopted during adolescence influence health both in the present and in the future. Tobacco use is a good example of how a behavior almost always adopted during adolescence leads a number of disease and death later in life. Thus, the benefits of adolescents' health and development occur not only to the adults that emerge from the process, but also future generations. Let us understand why the investment in adolescents' health and development is necessary and how it benefits the society. The three main reasons for investing in the health and well-being of adolescents are: first is health benefits for the adolescents in society. It is estimated that every year about 1.4 million adolescents die, mostly from accident, violence, pregnancy-related problem, and illness that are either preventable or treatable. Many more develop behavior. The child destroy their chances for personal fulfillment and also their ability to contribute to society. So, according to World Bank 1995, investing in adolescents' health and development will reduce the morbidity and mortality in this age group. It will maximize their opportunity to develop to their full potential and to contribute the best they can do to society. Economic benefit: investing in adolescents' health and development will reduce the burden of diseases and death in later life because healthy behaviors and practices adopted during adolescence tend to last a lifetime. Some of the disease like obesity, heart disease, and so on, once developed, also tend to run in family. Today's adolescents are tomorrow's parents, teachers, and leaders. What they learn today, they will teach to their own children and to other children tomorrow. So, investing in adolescents' health and development makes economical sense. Better prepared and healthy adolescents will result in productivity gains when they enter the workforce. Thus, there will be better return on investment made in early childhood and adolescence. When adolescents develop suboptimally or die permanently, this means a waste of their investment. Investing in prevention and promotion during adolescence also offers future health costs. The prevention of habits like smoking, lack of exercise, and overeating, causing obesity, worse health cost on non-communicable diseases like cancers, hypertension, and heart diseases much later in life. Adolescents have a human rights to achieve the highest attainable level of health. Promoting and safeguarding adolescents' health is not only an investment but also a basic human right. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, ratified by nearly every government in the world, declares that young people have a right to life development and the highest attainable standards of health to facilitate treatment of illness, rehabilitation, and health, according to this article. The CRC also gives young people the right to preventive health care and requires specific protection for those living in exceptionally difficult conditions or with disabilities. This means that governments have the responsibility to ensure that health and other basic services essential for good health are provided. So check your progress with the help of these type of questions, and I will discuss next topic, role of teacher in the stage of adolescence. India has a long tradition of Guru Shishya Parampara, wherein the sons or daughters of kings or paupers were treated alike. The students were sent in ashram in their adolescence, and it was the duty of the teacher to identify and nurture the talents in them. Teachers still play a vital role in the life of an adolescent, as in olden times. Let us understand various roles of teachers for a healthy and happy adolescence. Adolescents are often bewildered by the rapidity of changes and are anxious by comparing them with those in their peers. Teachers can act as a friend by sharing correct information with adolescents and reassuring them that the changes are normal and expected, and they are normal even though they may be short or long as compared to other girls and boys. Teachers can remove myths and misconceptions by sharing correct and scientific information about development, characteristics, and related issues like sexual matters. They can be empathetic and talk and share the feeling and thoughts about the hurt which sarcastic remarks of peers cause to the adolescents. They can suggest strategies that will help them to hold their own when someone tries to articulate about their height, physical growth, and behavior. Like the teacher of Helen Keller, teacher can help adolescents increase their self-esteem by making them realize that physical appearance alone does not determine the personality of an individual. More important is the inner beauty, how one conducts oneself, behaves with others, helps others, and respects others. And so, as a mentor like Lord Buddha, they can help the adolescents to be self aware or being aware of the qualities and weaknesses to work upon. They can nurture what adolescents can do best: play games, draw picture, or sing well. In this way, they can realize their potential. Like Dronacharya had Arjuna to focus on the eye of sparrow. Teachers can help adolescents to set realistic goals for them and work to achieve them and get excellence and ultimate success. As an encounter, teacher can help adolescents to analyze a situation objectively, considering the pros and cons, and take decisions that help them to handle difficult situations like choice of careers or heartbreaks and so on. This can prevent them being involved in high risk behaviors. They can identify the adolescents under stress, help them to come out of it, and refer to professional counselings like Chanakya. Teachers can act as a role model for adolescents. The adolescents can be sure of the ideas, values, and qualities they see in their teacher and nurture them in their life. Teacher, Teachers as a guide can help adolescents to develop life skills, the qualities for positive and adaptive behavior to face the opportunities and challenges of life in adolescence and make them successful. There is this is a what Acharya Vishwanath did through animal stories, Pancharatna, Panchatantra. Thus, an empathetic, supportive, and helping teacher can not only equip the adolescents to pass through difficult situations but also identify and develop the inherent potential in them. They can recognize and provide the nation with many talents like Sabir Bhatia, Kiran Bedi, B.R. Ambedkar, APJ Abdul Kalam, and so on personalities. Keywords are here for this all of these discussion. Child. Child is a term usually applied for the age group below 14 years. Youth. Youth is described within the age group of 15 to 25, 24 years. United Nations. According to United Nations. And 13 to 35 years for the mobility. Young people refers to the age group between 1 to 24 years. Teenage is synonymous with adolescence. So let us sum up of this topic. In this topic, you have learned that adolescence is a phase of transition between childhood and adulthood. This phase, adolescence, extends from 10 to 19 years of age and is characterized by a rapid physical, psychosexual, and social changes. It poses various opportunities and challenges. You have also understand that curiosity, exploration, and experimentation are hallmarks to adolescence. These, coupled with poor information and skills, lead to high risk taking behavior like substances, abuses, unsafe, causing unwanted pregnancy, HIV, and sexually transmitted infections. You have also learned that is divided into early adolescents, 10 to 14 years, middle adolescents, 15 to 17 years, and late adolescents, 18 to 19 years. However, there is no clear-cut declaration between these stages, and changes in these stages often overlap with each other. Now you have got an idea that adolescents constitute around 1.2 billion of the total population of the world and one-fifth of India's population. The diversity of adolescents needs to be considered in various policies and programs, and we need to invest in adolescents not only for long-term health and economic benefits to the nation, but also as an obligation of human rights. You as a teacher can play an important role to identify the talents and realize the full potential of adolescents uh, for your further references. Adolescent Development Initiative in India is given it in this appendix laws parting and you can check your progress with the help of all these types of exercise. And thank you so much for watching this video. My dear learner, today I will discuss here on the topic of growth and development. You must have noticed that a newborn cannot sit without support, but an infant 4-month-old can sit with support for a minute. By 9 months, most infants can sit without support for 10 minutes or longer. Similarly, in toddler or children between 1 to 3 years, there is a marked transition in terms of a child's growth and development milestones. This makes us wonder how such rapid growth takes place in young children. Another question that arises is, how do children of a similar age group go through similar changes? Can we identify any predictable pattern in the growth and development of children? What are the factors that affect the growth and development of children? In this lesson, in this video, you will find answer to these questions. You will study what is meant by growth and development and what the principles guiding them are. You will also study the factors that affect growth and development. After watching this video, you will be able to differentiate between growth and development, explain the principles of development, discuss the role of heredity and environment on children's development, and describe the factors affecting growth and development of children. So, firstly, I will discuss what is growth. We tend to talk about growth and development together. Indeed, the process of growth and development go hand in hand in each individual. This is why sometimes we may think that they are one and the same, but this is not so. We can differentiate between the two terms which are distinctly different. Growth refers to quantitative changes in the body. The main indicators of growth are increase in height, weight, and changes in the body structure and body proportions. Changes continue to occur in all domains of development, but changes that take place in the physical development of children become most visible and apparent. One of the important features of growth is that these changes are measurable. The sequence, pattern, and direction of changes in growth are common to all children, although the rate of growth may vary from one child to another. In some cases, like in the case of children with special needs, you may find deviation in different domains of development. Growth is rapid during the first 2 years of life. You will be surprised to know that between birth and first year of life, well nourished children can undergo a 50% increase in height. However, not all parts of the body grow at the same rate. After the first 2 years of life, growth curve begin to level off and the rate of growth slows down until puberty. Puberty is marked by a growth spurt. Its example, relatively fast increase in height and weight in adolescents. The table shows the pattern of growth in terms of height and weight increments from birth till 8 years in healthy children. So here are the table of growth. Average height and weight of girls and or boys at different ages. Age, birth, weight is 3.3 at the time of birth. Height is 50.5 centimeter, and at the age of 3 months of a baby, weight 6 and height 61.1 centimeter. At the age of 6 months, weight is 7.8 and height is 67.8 centimeter. At the age of 9 months, weight is 9.2 and height is 72.3. After the 1 year, 10.2 weight and height is 76.1. And at the age of 2 years, weight is 12.3 and height is 85.6 centimeter. And at the age of 3 years, weight is 14.6 and height is 94.9 centimeter. At the age of 4 years, weight is 16.7 and height is 102.9 centimeter. At the age of 5 years, weight is 18.7 and height is 109.9. At the age of 6 years, weight is 20.7 kg and height is 116.1 centimeter. And at the age of 7 years, weight is 22.9 kg and height is 1 to 1.7 centimeter. At the age of 8 years, weight is 25.3 kg and height is 127.0 centimeter. So, nutrients requirement and recommended dietary allowances, so and so on. Physical growth is measured by increase in height and weight at regular intervals. The height of a newborn child ranges from 47 centimeter to 52 centimeter. The weight can range from 2.4 kg to 3.2 kg. On an average increment in weight is 2.0 to 2.5 kg per year. Boys tend to be heavier and taller than girls during infancy and even as toddler. A steady increase in both height and weight is a good indicator of satisfactory physical growth. A height and weight chart is a good way of assessing health and physical development of children. Growth charts that monitor growth should be maintained regularly for all children. Along with an increase in height and weight, body proportion of children also undergo changes. You must have noticed that the head of a newborn looks bigger compared to the rest of the body. The top of the head appears to be large and the face remains small. Later body proportion changes and the head does not look that big. However, throughout infancy and toddlerhood, the lower portion continue to remain shell and underdeveloped. The growth of the head is proportionately much less after birth as compared to the growth of the other parts of the body. The head increases in size and accounts for 1/4 of a child's length at 2 years of age. Its width wise go this almost 90% completely by the age of 3 years. However, functional development of the brain continue into adolescence. Compared to the first year, the trunk and limbs begin to grow at a faster pace during toddlerhood. When children are born, their arms appear to be longer in proportion to their legs. At birth, the legs are short and face each other. As they grow in length, they straighten out. During the first and second years, the height of infants increases approximately by 40% and 60 to 75% respectively, greater than at birth. As a result of this change, the body of a child looks more proportionate than it didn't the first year. This also helps children attain better balance. This pattern of growth remain the same for both boys and girls, but on an average, baby girls are slightly smaller than baby boys in size. So let us now understand what development is. So I will discuss in this video what is development. Development refers to qualitative changes in the body as well as changes in behavioral attitude. It is difficult to measure or quantify development as these changes are not quantitative. It is important to note that physical growth is measurable quantitatively. However, certain changes such as cognitive and socio-emotional maturity may not be measured in quantitative terms. These need to be measured in qualitative terms. Development is governed by certain principles. These are discussed here. First principle is development is continuous and involves changes. So, do young children start walking suddenly, or are there intermediary steps leading to walking? You may have noticed that during infancy, while learning to walk, infants first learn to crawl, then to stand with support, then to stand without support, and finally to walk. This points to the fact that development involves changes at each step and continues to take place all the time. We may or may not notice these changes on a day to day basis. But these changes in body and behavioral pattern, which are indicators of development, take place continuously at times. Development is rapid and at other times is slowed down, but it is continuous. It does not stop at any time. It is worth mentioning that changes appear not only in physical features and body structure but also in the socio emotional and cognitive development of children. Development as is sequential. As already mentioned, children learn to stand before walking. Similarly, they scribble before writing. These illustrate that there is a pattern in development. This development is sequential. All children follow more or less similar development pattern with one stage to other stage. So showing this picture, development is sequential. The sequential pattern of development proceeds in two directions. First, development proceeds from upper part of the body to the lower part of the body, and its example from head to toe. This head to toe sequence is called cephalocaudal. This origin is Latin uh, head to tail. Principle of development. They show that development in children's head region comes first, followed by trunk region, and finally in the region. This pattern helps to understand why children learn to see an object before they can control their trunk, and they learn to sit before they can stand. So this is first is cephalocaudal and second one is proximodistal pattern of development. Development also proceeds from central parts of the body to peripheral parts referred to as near to far sequence. This is called proximodistal. Near to far means near to far. Principle of development. In a fetus, the head and trunk region gets well developed before the rudimentary limb parts appear. Gradually, the arm parts develop into hands and fingers. That is the reason why children master using their arms before their hands. They develop control over their fingers much later. Apart from physical and motor development, are the predictable pattern and sequences in other development also? The answer is yes. There is a predictable pattern of development for different cognitive functions. Initially, children's thinking is built on concrete object in their environment, and later they can think in terms of abstract ideas as well. Therefore, young children need concrete objects and pictures to manipulate. They learn by doing and engaging in a variety of activities. Later, children develop concept in abstract terms also. Likewise, other domain of development also follow a sequential pattern. Here it is important to bring attention to the fact that although ordinarily the sequence is common to all children, certain aspects of development may remain affected in some children due to a variety of reasons. Next one is development is a product of maturation and learning. You must have observed that normally most children learn to sit around at the age of 6 months, stand while holding in 8 to 9 months, take their first step between 9 to 12 months, and start walking by 13 to 15 months. Under normal circumstances, all children have potential to sit, stand, and walk, but they can perform the particular task only when they get physically and mentally mature. Maturation is the unfolding of characteristics potentially present in the individual. This comes from genetic endowment. Genetically, we are born with capacities to walk, speak, think, and so forth. There is an internal timetable within us that prepares us to start walking and speaking at the time when our body and mind becomes mature enough. Have you observed how young children learn? They learn through imitation and trial and error. Learning brings changes in behavior due to environmental learning, which include effort and exercise. Maturation and learning are closely related. One influences the other. Children develops as per their internal genetic timetable as well as external environmental inputs. Thus, development is the product of maturation and learning. There are individual differences in development. At each stage of development, one can expect certain competencies to appear in every domain of development. There are called developmental milestone. Milestones of development present the age ranges during which the majority of children accomplish age-specific skills. It is important to note that there are individual differences in development. No two children are alike. Each child is unique. One child may start speaking early and the other might take more time to speak. The range of variability depends on many factors like heredity and environment. Each child has different experiences that interact with the unique hereditary pattern. Although the sequence of development is fairly uniform, predetermined, and common of all children, the rate and pace of development may vary from child to child. Developmental differences are routine among children unless a child deviates drastically from the normal developmental pattern. The child develops as a unified whole. Different domains of development are interrelated and therefore the child develops as a unified whole. Each domain of development affects the other and is in turns affected by the other. Any problem in one aspect of development is likely to affect others. For example, a child who may be either chronically ill or may have delayed physical motor development may not be able to participate subsequently in physical activities with other children. As a result, the child may not get a chance to mingle with other children, and this may affect all other aspects of development, including social, emotional, cognitive, and language. The impact may be minor and temporary or serious and permanent. So, here is factors affecting growth development. You have already studied about growth and development and the principle that govern development. To understand what factors affect growth and development, let us go through the following case studies. First case study is Sudhir was a small baby, although he was born after completing the full period of gestation in his mother womb. At the time of birth, his birth weight and height were less than those of an average newborn. Both his parents are shorter in height and the average population. As Sudhir teacher 8 years of age, his parents observed that he is shorter in height among the rest of his classmates. Case study 2. Sonu has grown up in a slum and his parents are daily wagers in a factory. His family lives in poverty and sometimes does not have enough go eat. Sonu shows poor intellectual and academic performance. Case study 3. Rima is a 3-year-old girl growing up in an urban locality. She is not able to speak properly. Both her parents are busy in their respective jobs. The child is looked after by a domestic help who takes care of her well, but does not talk much to her. Most of the time, Rima is made to sleep. So, some of you may have attribute the present condition of these three children as being due to genetic factor and the health of the mother and the child during the prenatal and postnatal period. Some of you may have attribute these largely to environmental reasons such as less opportunities of stimulation and poor nutrition of the child. This is what the nature versus nurture controversies is all about. Some psychologists believe that heredity affect us more than environmental factors. Some believe that the opposite is true. There is no clear answer as to what impact us more, our genetic makeup or the inputs and we get from our environments. But generally there is a consensus that both impact us. Let us explore this in greater depth in the some sections. Heredity, first is heredity and next one is environment. So firstly discuss here heredity. You may like to know whether intelligent parents will always have intelligent children. Do parents of short stature only have a short children? Will a child get asthma if the mother is suffering from asthma? A child may or may not inherit the characteristics mentioned above. It depends on the genetic material a child receives at the time of conception from both the parents through genes, which are structural units of chromosomes. Heredity or genetics is found to influence the development of a children intellectual potential, height, weight, general physical appearance. The genetic makeup inherited from parents seems to be tied to maturation of the body and the brain, which influences growth and developmental milestones after conception. Nothing can be done to add to or subtract from the child's heredity endeavor. These characteristics of the child are also determined at the time of fertilization. At the time of conception, every child receives 46 chromosomes, of which every child receives 46 chromosomes, of which 23 are contributed by the mother and 23 by the father. The chromosomes passed on by the father will determine the sex of the child to an extent. To certain diseases such as color blindness, Down syndrome, asthma, diabetes also depends on heredity. In addition to that, certain personality characteristics such as temperament may also be affected by genetic factors. However, genetic predispositions can be overridden by environmental influences. One can create or provide an environment that can help reduce the impact of heredity. In case study first, Sudhir can be provided with healthy food and height promoting exercise to help reduce the effect of heredity. Similarly, in case study 3, Rima can be provided a stimulating environment to help her interact and communicate better. Next factor is environmental factors. Many environmental factors such as mother state of health, age, disease, and emotional states, and exposure of the unborn baby to the environmental pollution, to X-rays and drugs after the child affect the child. Certain contextual factors such as family, gender, culture, and society at large also influence children's development. Let us understand about these environmental factors in detail. We are familiar that children experience their immediate environment after they are born. However, even before children are born, they experience the environment within their mother's womb. A child and the mother are connected in more than one way. The mother's state of health, disease, age, and emotional states also affect the child. If a mother keep good health and takes proper nutrition during and after pregnancy and also during lactation, then the child will also be healthy. However, if a mother has disease or is nutritionally weak, then the child born to her may also be affected by this. Creating a conducive environment may not totally help the child overcome the constraints set by heredity, but it can help reduce their effect. Nutrition, health, and hygiene needs of a child and the mother. The foundation for growth and healthy development are laid from the mother's womb. Maternal health is an important factor which affects the growth and development of a child. A fetus gets nourishment from the mother's diet. Therefore, it is very important that during pregnancy the mother takes a balanced diet which is rich in all necessary nutrients. Moreover, antibodies produced by the mother to combat infection diseases are transmitted to the fetus, usually producing immunity at birth and for some months thereafter. The placenta also acts as a barrier against some harmful agents, including viruses, microorganisms, and various chemicals. Thus, it is important to give both the mother and the child proper and timely immunization and other health checkups to prevent various diseases. along with mother and child's nutrition and health, keeping them clean by giving them a regular bath. Cleaning of teeth, hair, nails, nose, eyes, or other important factor that must be given attention. Age of the mother. Besides the mother's health, her age also affects fetal development. Reproductive organs of mother who are less than 17 years of age are not fully mature, and the hormones required for reproduction are not at the optimum level. Among young teenagers, pregnancy tends to inhibit to the mother's as well as child's growth. Young mothers are at high risk of complication during pregnancy. Likewise, after the age of 35, hormonal activity gradually decreases and may lead to complications. Women over the age of 40 run a risk of having children with chromosomal abnormality. Emotional state of mother. Children are not just affected by the mother's physical state but also by the mother's emotional state. Emotion like rage, fear, and anxiety bring the mother's nervous system into action, and thereby certain chemicals are released into the bloodstream of the mother. These substances are transmitted to the fetus. Prolonged emotional stress during pregnancy may have lasting consequences on the child. Infants born to upset, unhappy mother are more likely to be premature or have low birth weights, be hyperactive and irritable, and may manifest difficulties such as irregular eating, excessive bowel movements, gas, sleep disturbances, and excessive crying. Exposure to X-ray during pregnancy, one needs to avoid unnecessary exposure to X-ray unless the doctors advise it. Repeated exposure to radiation during the early conception period may have harmful effects on the physical and mental development of the fetus. Drugs. Many drugs are suspected of producing birth defects if they are taken during pregnancy. These include some antibiotics, hormones, and steroids. Many a time, one finds pregnant women taking medicine without realizing its impact on the fetus. It can be harmful or even prove fatal or to the unborn child. Drinking and smoking. Drinking by pregnant women can produce fetal fetal alcoholic syndrome. These symptoms of this condition include retarded prenatal and postnatal growth, premature birth, mental retardation, physical malformation, sleep disturbances, and congenital heart diseases. Smoking by a pregnant woman retards the growth of the fetus and lowers the newborn's birth weight and resistance to illness. It also increases the chances of spontaneous abortion and premature birth, and may affect long-term physical and cognitive development. This is a consequence of the reduced capacity of the mother's blood to transport oxygen to the fetus. Caffeine is also likely to cause abortion, stillbirth, and premature birth of the child. Next one is environmental pollution. You will be surprised to know that environmental pollution is another factor that affects prenatal development. Exposure of a pregnant woman to the environmental pollution can seriously affect the developing fetus. So, for instance, pregnant women can absorb lead from car exhaust, paint flaking off or the walls in old houses, and other material used in industrial establishments. The high levels of lead exposure are constantly linked to prematurity, low birth weight, brain damage, and slightly poor mental development. During the first 2 years, it may also lead to a variety of physical defects. Other contextual factors, certain contextual factors such as socioeconomic status of a child, families, their living condition, family structure, and child rearing practices, and the society at large also impact growth and development of children. Let us explore more about them. Socioeconomic background. So, children from different socioeconomic backgrounds may vary in terms of their growth and development. This is on account of factors like nutrition, number of illness, and overall standards of health, lack of opportunities, and exposure, especially in early years, led to a lag in certain aspects of development. Living condition, illness and accident. If living condition and are poor, children may suffer from a variety of diseases, leaving them with stunted growth and development. Some homes lack proper sunlight and ventilation. Unhygiene living condition within homes and outside make children susceptible to water-borne diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and many other ailments of the stomach. Respiratory and gastrointestinal diseases are frequent among many children brought up in an unhygiene environment, which may even prove fatal. Children who grow up in an unhygienic condition are also likely to catch common illness like measles, chickenpox, whooping cough, diarrhea, and diphtheria. These illnesses may be mild or prolonged in a particular child, but they are most likely to affect growth and delay development. Other than these accidents due to lack of safety measures and negligence may lead to physical and intellectual impairment. Family structure. The changing structure of the family from joint to nuclear has decreased the number of persons, including children and grandparents, that children interact with. This has an impact on their development, including their socio-emotional development. Shrinking family size, clubbed with the busy schedules of the parents due to their work environment, often leave the children being socialized by different norms of media and technology. Children engagement with modern day gadgets such as phone, laptops, tablets, and television may impact their overall growth and development. Child rearing practices. Some parents are authoritarian and make strict rules and regulations, and the children must follow. This creates a fear and insecurity in the children. On other hand, some parents take children's choices and opinion into consideration while deciding anything for children. Thus, child rearing practices may have positive or negative impact on the children's development. A balanced attitude of parents towards children creates pleasant experiences and favorable environment that helps children to become confident, have high self-esteem, and find people around them trustworthy. Enabling and stimulating environment both at home at school is essential for children's healthy growth and development. The development of children will be positive in a home where they are encouraged to play and interact freely with parents and caregivers. This promotes all the domains of development. Similarly, it is also necessary that children are allowed to ask questions and given an opportunity to explore and experiment at school. If their enthusiasm is curbed and they are discouraged for participating, uh, then their cognitive and socio-emotional development is likely to get affected. Influences of siblings. Apart from parents, children are strongly influenced by their siblings. They can be a source of emotional security and can help each other requires skill. If the parents involved and older child is in supporting them in looking after the younger sibling, the child learns responsibility and develops a willingness to share. On the other hand, siblings may develop jealousy and rivalry with each other. Parents should avoid comparing as it can create resistance and jealousy. They should also ensure that their behavior toward them is impartial and fair. Peer group beyond the confidence uh, confines of home and one's immediate family. How well children are accepted within the peer group deeply influence their self-concept. The peer group helps children to learn and behave in a especially acceptable manner. Acceptance by one's peer group is a stronger source of emotional support. So parents teach social behavior. It is the company of friends that children learn sharing, cooperation, autonomy, skills of leadership, and a sense of competition. Hence, the importance of peer group in healthy growth and development cannot be undermined. So, all these factors affect the growth and development. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hello, my dear learner. Today I will discuss here on the topic of domains of development. Development of children is a complex and a continuous process. It takes place in many areas or domains, which together influences their holistic development. In the previous video, I have discussed about growth and development of children and the principles of development. In this video, I will discuss in detail the different domains of development, namely physical and motor, socio-emotional, moral, cognitive, and language development. So, let's get physical and motor development. Physical growth and development includes the increase in height, weight, and changes in the proportion of the body structure. It includes development of bones. The entire structure of the body depends on the bones, on their size, proportion, and density. They give on an overall configuration and look to the body. You have read in the and you have watched in the previous video lecture that physical development takes place in two ways, proximodistal and cephalocaudal. Physical development includes not only changes happening externally but also what happens internally in the body. It also includes changes and maturation of internal organs as children grow physically. The internal organs, including the brains and the central nervous system, also develop. Physical development can be understood better in terms of fine and gross motor skills. Motor skills are physical abilities that children develop, which help them control the movement of their bodies in a relatively short period of time. They begin to develop simple motor skills. Children develop two broad kinds of motor skill: broad motor skills and fine motor skills. Gross motor skills involve large muscles and help control action of children such as falling, standing, walking, climbing, running, and so forth. Fine motor skills involves small muscles and affects the ability to use hands and fingers effectively. Fine motor skills development usually involves eye-hand coordination, which is the ability to match the movement of the hand with what the eye see. Developing fine motor skills help children in holding things like a cup or crayon, turning the pages of a book, buttoning and zipping, drawing and writing, etc. In simple words, fine motor skills help children grasp, hold, move, and handle different objects. Most of the activities of children as well as arts requires a combination of gross and fine motor skills. Physical development takes place continuously throughout our entire life. However, the nature and rate of growth may vary depending upon the stage of development. Every child develops at her or his own pace. Some children grow faster while some are not that fast, but it does not mean that they are physically immature or less developed. Every child is different. Therefore, individual differences can be seen among children sharing similar genomes and environmental conditions. In addition to that, gender differences in physical development can also be observed. Next one is socio-emotional development. Uh, do you talk to a child and an adult differently? Do you talk to your teacher and your friend differently? How did you learn to behave differently with different people? Depending upon your relationship with that person, do you behave similarly in all situations, or do you behave differently in different situations? When children enter this complex world, they do not know any rules and regulation of society. They gradually learn to interact with others, relate with others, and obey social rules. How we relate to others in different social situations and learn to act according to the established social rules and regulation of society comes under social development. It also includes participation and involvement in social activities and understanding the meaning of being part of social groups. A child in a social being and needs to connect with people around for a fulfilling life. Emotional development refers to the development of emotions and feeling in children. Some emotions such as happiness, fear and anger can be termed as basic emotion as they can be inferred directly from a person's facial expressions. Certain emotions such as shame, guilt, and envy can be classified as complex emotion as they cannot be simply inferred from facial expressions. Children are born with basic emotion and they develop complex emotion over time. Do you recall how you used to show your love or anger towards your parents when you were 5 years old? How do you express that same feeling now? Can you notice any transition in expressing the same emotions towards your parents? This brings us to the point that expression of emotions and behaviors related to them evolve over time. Some of these changes may be a result of your own emotional maturity and exposure to the surroundings. Cultural differences in the expression of emotions may also exist as each culture teaches is its different its children to show their emotion in a different manner. Gender differences in expression of different emotion might also vary. Socio-emotional development at different stages. Infancy. Infants interact with people around them by smiling, crying, babbling, and cooing. All these initiate and sustain the infant's interaction with others. When infant receives positive responses and stimulations from others in the environment, she is encouraged to develop socially. By the age of 6, to 8 months, infants learn to develop a sense of belongingness and begin to develop attachment with parents and other familiar persons in the world. It is seen that infants feel stranger anxiety, fear of being separated from the primary caregiver when they complete the first year of their life. This anxiety decreases gradually and children develop a special attachment. By the age of 2 years, children begin to detach a little from their parents and learn to show autonomy by saying no to what they do not want to do. Early childhood children develop self-awareness by the age of 2 to 5 years. They develop attitudes, likes and dislikes and ways of acting. Socialization is the process by which children acquire skills to become responsible adults in their society. Children are socialized primarily by parents who make children understand and realize the differences between right and wrong and help in developing a code of conduct in them. A strong identification process helps in socialization as children observe and imitate their parents who become role models for their children. The social world of preschool children expands and includes their peer group in social in school and in the neighborhood. They begin to engage in cooperative play and games with them. These provided a ground to relate with others and understand social situations better. They also begin to develop a psychological identity as members of either one or the other gender and insist on following gender appropriate behavior. Gender role identity arises from a number of factors, from biological differences between the sexes and from the way parents and others socialize boys and girls. So, moral development, the word moral has been taken from the word mores, which means manner and customs. In the simplest term, it is a sense of right and wrong. It includes moral behavior, moral reasoning, and judgment. Moral behavior entails acting in a morally right manner. Moral reasoning refers to weighing the option as right or wrong. This is based on whether or not we are able to understand the multiple perspectives related to the problems. Let us understand about development of moral reasoning in children. Development of moral reasoning in children. A number of psychologists have described moral development among children. Let us briefly study the stages of moral development as proposed by psychologists Jean Piaget and Lawrence Kohlberg. According to Jean Piaget, children's moral development can be understood by observing their understanding of rules during play. He described the children's moral development through two stages, namely heteronomous and autonomous morality. Heteronomous stage, children believe that rules are universal, fixed and handed down by any external authority. They believe that rules cannot be changed and anyone who breaks the rules will be punished. Since children in this stage see rules as unchangeable, they seldom show any flexibility towards changing rules. Autonomous stage, as children grow older, their sense of morality moves towards more flexibility and they start believing in everyone's good. Children believe that rules are for the benefit of all, and if any rule does not benefit all, it can be changed by common consensus. According to Lawrence Kohlberg, moral development takes place at three levels. First is the pre-moral level. Second one is the level of conventional morality. Third one is post-conventional morality. At the pre-moral stage, children learn right and wrong from the people around them. Their conduct is determined by external factors like approval and disapproval by authority, figures or rewards and punishment. Thus, a child's behavior is oriented towards obedience and punishment. As the child approaches middle childhood, the capacity to understand relationship and moral codes expand and it continue to grow in adolescence. At the level of conventional morality, children tend to believe that rules can be changed if they do not serve the common good of the society. In the post conventional stage of moral development, the sense of right and wrong is decided by one's own conscious and nothing can be imposed from outside. One may keep certain universals like value for life at the highest order of values and may also break a law for the same. So here one is cognitive development. It involves cognitive processes such as knowing, thinking, remembering, recognizing, categorizing, imagining, reasoning, understanding, decision making, and so forth. According to Jean Piaget, children's understanding of the world expands as they experience new ideas and challenges. Children construct their own knowledge through interaction with the surroundings. Cognitive development proceeds as children mature. Piaget divided cognitive development into four stages. These stages appear in the same order in all individuals, and no stage can be skipped. However, individual differences in the pace with which children pass through these stages may differ within certain limits. The stages of cognitive development, all four stages are here: sensory motor stage, pre-operational, concrete operational, formal operational. So I will discuss one by one the sensory motor stage 0 to 2 years. The first stage of cognitive development as proposed by Jean Piaget is known as the sensory motor stage. It extends from birth to 2 years of age. Piaget believed that infants are active learners who are responsive to stimulation in their environment. They learn quickly and distinguish between various features of the immediate environment. For example, an infant learns to distinguish between a spoon and mother's milk and opens his mouth differently for the food. Reflex action such as sucking, grasping, inherited by the infant become the building blocks for cognitive learning. With time, they learn to act intentionally. Infants learn to imitate others in their environment. As they grow, they can also imitate a person who is not present in the immediate environment. This is called deferred imitation. Gradually, infants develop objective permanence. Its example, the understanding that object continue to exist even when out of sight. For example, a 4-month-old child does not look out for a ball with which he or she was playing if when out of sight, but a child about 15-month-old will definitely do. The pre-operational stage 2 to 7 years. This is the second stage of cognitive development, which is basically a pre-logical stage as logic is not yet fully developed. It extends from 2 to 7 years of age. There are a few cognitive limitations that characterize children's cognition at this stage. They are animistic and illogical thinking, At this stage, children think that non-living object also possess life-like qualities. For example, children may reason that if an object is moving, it is alive. If it is not moving, it is not alive. Thus, to a child at this stage, clouds are living things. Egocentrism. Children think that everyone thinks the same way as they do and fail to recognize another person's perspectives. Reversibility. Children do not understand that for any activity, the events can be traced back to the original starting point. For example, if water from a tall glass is poured in a wide empty glass. The water can be poured back into the tall glass to bring it to the original state. Converse, uh, conservation children lack to the ability to conserve at this stage, which means they fail to understand that the external appearance of an object changes, but the physical properties of that object remain the same. For example, if we pour equal amounts of water into two glasses, one tall and one wide, and if we ask children which glass has more water, children intentionally point to the glass that they perceive has more water. Children also fail to understand multiple perspectives and categories objects into subcategories based on more than one characteristic feature of the object. Third one is concrete operational stage. 11 years, the concrete operational stage starts from 7 years of age and continue till 11 years. The limitations of the pre-operational stage come to an end at this stage. Children develop logical thinking, but they still find difficulty in applying logic or hypothetical situation. Their logic is limited to concrete or observable characteristic of the object and situations. Children are now capable of understanding others' viewpoints. One of the most important characteristics of the concrete operational stage children is decentering. At this stage, children's thinking is not centered on one aspect of an object only. They can talk into account more than one aspect when categorized object. They also have reversibility of thought where they can carry a thought or operation backward and forward. They can now arrange object in a serial order depending on the object defining feature. This is called seriation. For example, they can arrange a set of pencils of different sizes in ascending or descending order. All these characteristics make them better problem solvers than children in the pre-operational stage of cognitive development. Next one is the formal operational stage. 11 years and above, the formal operational stage begin around 11 years of age. Here, children are able to perform higher order mental operation. Their thought is flexible and they can deal effectively with the complex problems involving reasoning. One of the defining characteristics of formal thought is the ability to perform hypothetic or deductive reasoning. Adolescents can make hypotheses and find all the possible solution to any abstract problem and then apply the best suited to solve. Next one is language development, communication, and emergent emergent literacy. Language is the ability to that separates humans from animals. As humans in society, we use our language ability continuously to communicate our ideas, share our feelings, understand each other, and build social relationships. Language is an essential key for thinking, learning, and making sense of the world around. Language also equips us to revisit events in the past and plan for the future. It also helps to us to evaluate our strategies of work and manipulate our own ideas. Most importantly, language serves as a tool to support cognition and vice versa. Language crucial the development of young children. Language development goes hand in hand with growth and maturation of the brain. The early years of life are considered critical periods for language development. From birth up to the age of 6 years, children develop language at a very rapid pace. Any stimulation given at this stage for language development significantly impacts children. Ordinarily, language development takes place in all human beings, but the age and the pace at which children reach each milestone varies. In general, girls develop language as a faster rate than boys, although both achieve the same language complexities later. Language occurs both receptively and expressively through listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Development of language soon after birth, infants begin communication by laughing, crying, and making vowel like cooing sounds. They also communicate through gesture and try to communicate their comfort, discomfort. But by about 4 months of age, the nature of these sounds change, and infants begin to manipulate their vocal apparatus during vocal play. Starting around 6 or 7 months of age, cooing develops into real language like sounds called babbling, baba, example baba, mama, etc. Pre is pre-speech form of communication, crying, cooing, and babbling gesture. Speech form communication, comprehension, pronunciation, vocabulary, sentence formation. Children learn to comprehend language before they can themselves produce it. You may have noticed that in the early years of life, children's speech is not clear, but soon their pronunciation becomes clear. Children's vocabulary increases with age. In the early years of a life, the number of words that children add to their vocabulary is tremendous. They acquire new words rather quickly and become good at generalizing newly acquired words. Initially, children combine 2 to 3 words to make meaningful phrases. For example, give me food. And later they combine more than 3 words to make short sentence. Gradually, the child develops language competency sufficient enough for forming complex sentences. Along with these, in middle childhood, they also acquire social rules of language uses. They understand that language used with different person can be different, and the language used in different places can also differ. They become skilled at using certain kind of language with their parents, teachers, and adults, and use another kind of language within their peer groups, such as these questions are here. You check your, you can check your progress. You can use these exercise for checking your learning. So thank you so much for watching this video. Hello, my dear learners. Today I will discuss here on the topic of infancy, childhood, and adolescence with special reference to physical, socio emotional, language, cognitive, and moral aspect and their educational implications. Human development across infancy, childhood, and adolescence involves complex changes in physical, socio emotional, language, cognitive, and moral domains. Each stage has unique characteristics and educational implications, which are outlined here. Infancy 0 to 2 years, physical developments, rapid growth in height and weight, development of motor skills from reflexes to control movement like crawling and walking, socio emotional development, attachment information with primary caregivers, expression of basic emotion, joy, fear, anger, sadness, language development, babbling progress to first words, receptive language understanding develops faster than expressive language speaking. Cognitive development are here some points of cognitive development. Sensory motor stage, Piaget, learning through senses and action. Object permanence develops. Moral development, pre-conventional stage, according to Kohlberg, behavior driven by avoidance of punishment and seeking reward. Educational implications of this stage provide a safe and stimulating environment, encourage exploration and sensory experiences, foster secure attachments through responsive caregivers, use simple language and engage in verbal interactions, introduce age appropriate toys to stimulate cognitive development. Childhood stage 3 to 12 years, physical development. Physical development, steady growth in height and weight, improvement in fine and gross motor skills, socio emotional development, development of self concept and self esteem, increasingly complex social interactions and friendships. Emotional regulation improves. Language development, vocabulary expansions, and complex sentence structures, development of reading and writing skills, cognitive development, pre operational 3 to 7 years, and concrete operational stage 7 to 12 years, according to Jean Piaget, symbolic thinking, logical reasoning about concrete objects, improved memory and problem solving skills. Moral development pre-conventional to conventional stage according to Kohlberg, understanding of rules and desire to gain social approval. Educational implication of this development provide diverse learning experiences and hands-on activities, encourage cooperative play and playgroup activities to develop social skills, support language development through reading and storytelling, use concrete examples to teach new concepts and logical reasoning, reinforce positive behavior and moral understanding through discussion about rules and fairness. Adolescence stage 13 to 18 years, physical development. Puberty leads to significant physical changes and sexual maturation. Development of secondary sexual characteristics. Socio emotional development. Formation of personal identity and self concept. Increased independence and exploration of new roles, peer influence and relationships become paramount. Language development, refinement of language skills, including abstract and complex language use, enhanced ability to understand and use figurative language. Cognitive development, some points are here of cognitive development. Formal operational stage, according to Jean Piaget, abstract thinking, hypothetical reasoning, and systematic planning. Improved metacognition. Metacognition means thinking about thinking. Moral development, conventional to post conventional stage, according to Lawrence Kohlberg, developing own set of ethical principles and understanding societal norms. Educational implication of this stage provide opportunities for critical thinking and problem solving, support identity exploration and self expression, foster social skills and emotional intelligence through group activities and discussion, challenging students with complex and abstract concepts, encourage ethical thinking and moral reasoning through debate and ethical dilemmas. Understanding the development characteristics of each stage allows educators and caregivers to tailor their approaches to meet the specific needs of children and adolescents, fostering optimal growth and learning. So now I will discuss here next bullet of this unit. Second, mm, problems of adolescents, educational support required for adolescents. Adolescence is a critical developmental period marked by significant physical, emotional, and social changes. Adolescents often face various problems that require specific educational support to ensure their healthy development and success. Some common problems faced by adolescents and the educational support they need. So, I will discuss here some problems of adolescents: identity and self esteem issue. Adolescents are in the process of forming their identities, which can lead to self esteem issues and confusion about their roles and values. Next problem is mental health concerns. Increased stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues are prevalent among adolescents due to academic pressure, social media influence, and personal challenges. Peer pressures. Adolescents often face pressure to conform to peer group norms, which can lead to risky behavior such as substance abuse, bullying, and other negative activities. Next problem is academic stress. High expectation and competitive academic environments can result in significant stress and burnout. Next one is family dynamics. Conflicts with parents and family members can arise as adolescents seek more independence, potentially leading to communication breakdowns and strained relationships. Next one is bullying and cyberbullying. Both traditional bullying and cyberbullying can severely affect adolescents' mental health and well being. Next problem is physical changes. Puberty brings about physical changes that can cause body image issues and discomfort. Social and relationship issues. Navigating friendship and romantic relationship can be challenging and confusing for adolescents. Next one is educational support required for adolescents. All these points are here for educational support. Mental health support. Schools should provide access to counseling services, mental health education, and stress management programs. This can help adolescents cope with emotional and psychological challenges. Next one is life skills education. Programs that teach life skills such as communication, decision making, and problem solving can empower adolescents to handle various life situations effectively. Third one is career guidance and counseling. Providing career guidance can help adolescents make informed decisions about their future, reducing anxiety related to career choices and academic performance. Fourth is inclusive education environment. Creating an inclusive and supportive school environment that respects diversity and promotes a sense of belonging can help reduce issues related to identity and self-esteem. Fifth point is parental involvement programs. Encouraging parental involvements in education and providing resources for parents on how to support their adolescents can improve family dynamics and communication. Sixth is anti-bullying initiatives. Implementing comprehensive anti-bullying programs, including cyberbullying prevention, can create a safer school environment. Seventh point is physical education and health program. Regular physical activity and health education can help adolescents understand and cope with physical changes, promoting overall well-being. Eighth point is academic support, offering tutoring, personalized learning plans, and stress reduction techniques can help manage academic stress and improve performance. Ninth point is SEL means social and emotional learning. Integrating SEL into the curriculum can help adolescents develop emotional intelligence, empathy, and positive relationship skills. Next one is technology use education. Educating adolescents about the responsible use of technology and social media can mitigate the negative impacts of digital life. Implication strategies are here. Implementation strategies are here. First point is counseling service. So, counseling services establish on campus counseling services with trained professionals who can provide one on one support. Next point is workshop and seminars. Organize regular workshops and seminars on relevant topics such as mental health, career planning, and life skills. Peer support programs, develop peer monitoring and mentoring and support groups where adolescents can share experiences and support each other. Parental education offer workshop for parents to help them understand adolescent development and how to effectively support their children. Last but not least, collaborative approach. Engage teachers, parents, and community organization in a collaborative effort to provide holistic support to adolescents. By addressing these problems through targeted educational support, schools and communities can help adolescents navigate this challenging developmental stage and set the foundation for a healthy, successful future. So, I will discuss here all the topics, summary of all these topics of whole unit second are here. Growth and development are fundamental concepts in understanding human change over time. Growth refers to quantitative changes in physical aspects such as height, weight, and organ size, predominantly occurring during childhood and adolescence. Development, however, is a broader concept encompassing qualitative changes across the lifespan, including physical, cognitive, social, and emotional dimension. The distinction between growth and development is essential. While growth focuses on physical changes, Development includes the progressive enhancement of skills and abilities influenced by both genetic and environmental factors. Development follows several key principles. It is sequential, occurring in a predictable order. Cumulative building on various stages and variables in rate as individuals progress at different speeds. Development is also integrated with various aspects influencing each other and proceeds from general responses to specific skills. Infancy, childhood, and adolescence are critical stages of development. During infancy, 0 to 2 years, rapid physical growth occurs alongside the development of motor skills, initial social interaction, language acquisition, and cognitive awareness. Childhood 3 to 12 years involves steady physical growth, social emotional development through peer interaction, language expansion, cognitive advancement, and moral understanding. Adolescence 13 to 18 years is marked by puberty and significant physical changes, complex socio emotional development, advanced cognitive process, and moral reasoning. Each stage has specific educational implications, necessitated tailored teaching strategies to support holistic growth. Adolescents face unique challenges, including identity crisis, emotional fluctuations, and social pressure. Educational support should address these issues through comprehensive guidance programs, counseling services, and curricula that promote emotional well being, critical thinking, and moral development. Providing a supportive and understanding environment is crucial for helping adolescents navigate this transformative period successfully. So, some keywords are here. Growth. Growth is quantitative physical changes, height and weight development. Qualitative changes like physical, cognitive, socio emotional, and so on. You can check your progress after watching this video, and you can use further study resources. So, thank you so much for watching this video. Hello, my dear learners. Today, in this video, I will discuss here Unit 2nd of Psychological Foundation of Education. So, first of all, discuss on the topic of growth and development. Unit 2nd. So, you will be able to understand the concept of growth and development after watching this video. Talk second. Objective of Unit 2nd. Understanding the concept and meaning of growth and development. Explain the principles of development to classify the difference between growth and development. 2.1 Introduction. 2.2 Growth and development. 2.3 Comparison of growth and development. 2.4 Principles of development. 2.5 Infancy, childhood, and adolescence, with special reference to physical, socio emotional, language, cognitive, and moral aspect and their educational implications. 2.6 Problems of adolescents, educational support required for adolescents, educational support required for adolescents. 2.8 is their summary. 2.9 their keywords, and 2.10 self assessment. You can check your self progress after watching this video. So, firstly, I will discuss here 2.1 Introduction. Growth and development are fundamental concepts in understanding human progression from birth to adulthood. Growth refers to quantitative changes such as height and weight, while development encompasses qualitative changes in skills, abilities, and emotional maturity. These processes are guided by several principles, including sequential, cumulative, and variable pace of development. Different stages, infancy, childhood, and adolescence, each have unique characteristics and implications for physical, socio emotional, language, cognitive, and moral development. For instance, infancy is marked by rapid physical growth and initial language acquisition, while childhood involves refined motor skills and early moral understanding. Adolescence, a critical transitional period, presents distinct challenges such as identity formation and peer pressure. Addressing these requires targeted educational support to foster healthy development and mit- mitigate issues like anxiety and academic pressure. Understanding these stages and their implications is crucial for educators, parents, and policymakers to effectively support the holistic development of individuals. Next is concept of growth and development. So, first is growing meaning. What is the meaning of growing? So, I will discuss here growing meaning increase in size, height, and weight. It implies growth of heart, brain, muscles, and body in general. It can generally be easily observed or measured. Definition of growth. So, according to Arnold Bessel, growth is the function of the organism rather than of the environment. The environmental furnishes soil and surrounding for the manifestation of development, but these manifestations came from inherent inner organism and an intrinsic physiology of development. Growth growth is a process so intricate and so sensitive that these must be powerful stabilizing factors. Intrinsic balance of the total pattern and direction of the growth trend. Growth is intrinsic process which can be measured, observed, and quantified. It is depend upon many factors like education, environment. It is not a continuous and lifelong process. It starts with conception and continues up to some particular stage. It stops when the person attains maturity. Meaning of development. Development is a series of orderly progression, change toward maturity. It refers to change in structures and improvement in functioning. For example, hands, legs do not grow only large, but they also develop because they improve in their functions. Thus, development can best be defined as a progression series of changes in an orderly, coherent pattern. According to J. Anderson, development does not consist merely of adding inches to one height or improving one ability. Instead, development is complex process of integrating many structures and functions. Webster's dictionary. Development is a series of changes which an organism undergoes in passing from an embryonic state to maturity. So, represent the figure of development of the whole child: physical and motor, intellectual, moral, language development, social development, and emotional development. Next one is here comparison of growth and development. Both concepts are differ from each other, growth and development. So, firstly, growth and development are two fundamental aspects of biological changes that occur in living organisms. Often used interchangeable, they refer to different processes. First is growth. Growth refers to the measurable physical changes that occur in an individual over time. This includes increases in height, weight, and the size of organs and tissues. Growth is a quantitative aspect of development, reflecting biological changes and physical maturation. It is most rapid in infancy and adolescence. It continues at a slower pace throughout childhood. Growth is influenced by genetic factors like mm, genes, nutrition, health, and environmental conditions. Monitoring growth helps in assessing the health and development of individuals, ensuring that they are developing within the typical ranges for their age group. Key characteristics are here. First is quantitative, involve measurable changes such as an increase in height, weight, and organ size. Second one is physical changes, enlargement of tissues and organs due to cell multiplication and enlargement. Next one is continuous process occurs throughout the lifespan with varying rates at different life stages. Next one is hormonal regulation, influenced by hormones like growth hormone, thyroid hormones, and uh, gender hormones. Stage growth can be categorized into phases such as parental, before birth, childhood, adolescence, and adult development. So, development refers to the qualitative changes and progression in an individual's abilities, skills, and emotional maturity over time. It encompasses cognitive, emotional, social, and moral aspects, leading to more complex and sophisticated behavior and thinking. Unlike growth, which is primarily physical development, include learning to communicate, forming relationships, understanding and managing emotions, and acquiring problem solving skills. Development is a continuous process influenced by genetics, environment, education, and experiences. It occurs in stages, each characterized by a distinct milestone, and is essential for overall well being and the ability to function effectively in society. So, some key characteristics of development are here. First key characteristics is qualitative. So, qualitative involves changes in the complexity and function of cells, tissue, and organs. Second one is functional maturity. Development leads to the attainment physical, cognitive, and emotional maturity. Next one is milestone marked by specific developmental milestone like walking, talking, and problem solving skills. Influenced by multiple factors includes genetic, environmental, nutritional, and social factors. Stages. Development is often divided into uh, some stages such as infancy, early childhood, middle childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. So, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will discuss in next video comparison in growth and development. Today I will discuss here the topic of principle of human development. Principles of human development. So, developmental psychologists believe that knowledge of an accurate pattern of development is fundamental to an understanding of children. There are several basic principles that characterizes the pattern and process of growth and development. These principles describe typical development as a predictable and orderly process, even though there are individual differences in children's personalities, attitude, behavior, and timing of development. The principles and characteristics of development are universal patterns. First principles, development involves changes. The human being is undergoing changes from the from the moment of conception to the time of death. There are different types of change occur such as change in size, proportions, disappearance of old features and acquisition of new features, etc. The goal of these developmental changes is self-realization, which Abraham Maslow has labeled as self-actualization. Each individual is equipped with certain abilities and potentialities at birth. By utilizing the innate or inborn abilities, one tries to realize and strive for self actualization during the total life period. Children's attitude toward change are generally determined by his knowledge about these changes, social attitudes towards this change, and the way people of society treats to children when these changes take place. Second one is that development is a continuous process. Development continues throughout the life of an individual. This process takes place in interaction with the environment in which a person lives. One stage of development is the basic framework for the next stage of development. A child has limited knowledge and experiences about his environment. But as he develops, he acquires more information through explorations and adds to the skills already acquired, and the new skills become the basics for further achievement and mastery of skills. For example, the child is able to write and draw. He must have developed a hand control to hold a pencil and crayon. Thus, a person has vast experiences and knowledge as he grows up. Third principle is development follows a direction and uniform pattern in an orderly manner. Development proceeds from the center of the body outward. This is the principle of proximodistal. Proximodistal development that describes the direction of development from nearest to far apart. It means that the spinal cord develops before outer parts of the body. The child's arms develop before the hands, and the hands and feet develop before the finger and toes. Development proceeds from the head downward. This is called the cephalocaudal principle. According to this principle, development occurs from head to tail. The child gains control of the head first, then the arms, and then the legs. Fourth principle is individual differences in the development process. Even though the pattern of development is similar for all children, but the rate of development varies among children. Each child develops as per his abilities and perception of his environment. Children differ from each other both genetically and environmentally. So both biological factor and environmental situation have their impact on individual development, which leads to individual differences in development. Understanding this fact of individual differences in rates of development should aware us to be careful about using and relying on age and stage characteristics to label children. Next principle of development is development depends on maturation and development. Maturation refers to the sequential characteristics of biological growth and development. The biological changes occur in sequential order and give children new abilities. Changes in the brain and nervous system account largely for maturation. These changes in the brain and nervous system account largely for maturation. Development in predictable. Human development is predictable during the life span, although this development is influenced by both genetic and environmental factors. However, it takes place in a predefined manner. Specific areas of development, such as different aspects of motor development, emotional behavior, speech, social behavior, concept development goals, intellectual developments, and so on. Follow predictable pattern. For example, the growth of the child in height and weight continue up to a certain age. In general, it is also found that all children follow a commonality in the development periods of life. All children generally grow following the periods like parental period and postnatal period. The postnatal period includes infancy, babyhood, childhood, puberty, and so on. Next principle of development is early development is more critical than later development. Milton writes, the childhood shows the man as morning shows the day. Similarly, Erikson views childhood is the scene of man's beginning as man. He explained that if parents gratify the needs of the child for food, attention, and love, etc., his perception towards people and situation remain positive throughout his life. He develops positive attitudes, feels secure, emotionally stable, and adjusts well with the environment. If negative experiences occur during early life of the child, maladjustments may take place, blue incompetence and delinquents can be identified as early as 2 to 3 years of age. Different researchers view that the Preschool year age are most important years of development as basic foundation is laid down during this period which is difficult to change. Next principle of development. Development involves social expectations. In every society, there are certain rules, standards, and traditions which everyone is expected to follow. Development is determined by social norms and expectation of behavior from the individuals. Children learn customs, traditions, and values of the society and also what behaviors are expected from them. Development has potential hazards. Development may be hampered by various hazards. Hazards may be physical, environment, or psychological type. These hazards may be originated from the environment in which the child grows or due to hereditary factors. They have negative impact on physical as well as socio-psychological development of the child. The growth of the child may be retarded. He may be an aggressive person or he may encounter adjustment problems. For example, if a child is slurring or stammering and parents neglect the child may continue with this problem. Last but not the least, principle of development. Happiness varies at different periods of development. Happiness varies at different periods in the development process. Childhood is the happiest period of life and puberty is the unhappy. The patterns of happiness vary from child to child and it is influenced by the rearing process of the child. Paul B. Ward states six principles of development of lifespan approach. The six principles of development are mentioned here. Development is a lifelong process. Development is a process which continues throughout life. It begins at birth and ends in death of an individual. Second one is development includes both gain and loss during lifespan. The child may develop in one area and loss in another area. Third one is development is influenced by the biological factor and environmental situation. The human development is influenced by biological and environmental factors. For example, the body strength of the child develops in the early period but may deteriorate during old age. Next one is development involves changing allocation of resources. It states that during different developmental periods, resources such as time, money, social support, etc. are used differently. For example, during old age, people require more money to maintain their proper health. Fifth one is development can be modified. This principle reveals that through proper training, development can be modified. For example, an individual can maintain his proper health by doing different exercise even in old age. Sixth one is development is based on historical and cultural environment. The child grows, develops, and acquires knowledge about the traditions, rules, and regulations of society according to his historical and cultural environment. So, thank you so much for watching this video. Hello, my dear learners. Today I will discuss here mm, the concept of growth and development and comparison between both concept growth and development. So you will able to compare in growth and development after watching this video. So first one is growth. Growth refers to physiological changes And development development refers to overall changes in the individual. It involves changes in an orderly and coherent type towards the goal of maturity. Changes in the quantitative respect is termed as growth. Development development changes in the quality along with quantitative aspect. Third comparison is growth does not continue throughout life. Development continues throughout life. Growth stops after maturation and development is progressive. Fifth point is growth occurs due to the multiplication of cells. Development occurs due to both maturation and interaction with the environment. Growth is cellular, development is organizational. Next point is growth is one of the part of the developmental process. Development is a wider and comprehensive term. Growth may be referred to describe the changes in particular aspect of the body and behavior of the organism. Development describes the changes in the organism as a whole. The growth is changes produced by growth are subject of measurements. They may be quantified and observable in nature. And development brings qualitative changes which are difficult to measure directly. They are assessed through keen observation of behavior in different situations. Next point is growth may or may not bring development. Development is possible without growth. So, the term growth is used in purely physical sense. It is generally refers to an increase in size, length, height, and weight. Changes in the quantitative aspect come into the domain of growth. But development employs overall changes in shape, form, or structure, resulting in improved working or functioning. It indicates the changes in the quality or character rather than in quantitative aspect. Growth is one of the part of development process. In a strict sense, development in its quantitative aspect is termed as growth. Development is a wider and comprehensive term. It refers to overall changes in the individual. Growth is one of its parts. Next point is growth describes the changes which take place in particular aspects of the body and behavior of an organism. And development describes the changes in the organism as a whole and does not list the changes in parts. Growth does not continue throughout life. It stops when maturity has been attained. Development is a continuous process. It goes from born to term. It does not end with the attainment of maturity. The changes, however small they may be, continue throughout the life span of an individual. The changes produced by growth are the subject of measurement. They may be quantified. Development, as said earlier, implies improvement in functioning and behavior and hence brings quantitative changes which are difficult to measure directly. They are assessed through keen observation in behavioral situations. Growth may or may not bring development. A child may grow in terms of weight by becoming fat, but this growth may not bring any functional improvement, quantitative, qualitative change, or development. Development is also possible without growth, as we see in the cases of some children that they do not gain in terms of height, weight, or size, but they do experience functional improvement or development in physical, social, emotional, or intellectual aspects. So, thank you so much for listening this content and watching this video.